Winter in Stalingrad. Within the frozen ruins, the German Sixth Army was utterly annihilated. Why did they face such hell in this city? Hundreds of thousands of soldiers lost their lives, and the city was reduced to rubble. Hitler's arrogance led to history's greatest defeat. But, in fact, this failure had structural causes that are still repeated today. What exactly was the dictator's delusion? In this video, you will learn why Germany failed, who overlooked what, and what lessons it holds for the present day. Now, let's delve into the full scope of that collapse. In the main feature, we will also explore the strategies of both armies and the despair of their soldiers in detail. In 1941, Nazi Germany launched Operation Barbarossa, the invasion of the Soviet Union. Overwhelming Soviet forces with its Blitzkrieg, Germany continued its rapid advance. Within just a few weeks of the invasion, they had penetrated deep into Soviet territory. Capturing millions of Soviet soldiers, Hitler was convinced of victory. By 1942, the German army's next objectives were the oil fields of southern Russia and the vital Volga River stronghold of Stalingrad. Stalingrad was not only a strategic strongpoint but also a symbolic city, named after the Soviet leader Stalin. Hitler viewed the capture of Stalingrad as an absolute command, and German morale reached its peak. General Friedrich Paulus, commanding the German Sixth Army, held an optimistic outlook, bolstered by the past successes of the Blitzkrieg. The German army at the time was hailed as the strongest in the world, an elite force. In morale, equipment, and training, it surpassed the Soviet army in every aspect. To them, the capture of Stalingrad seemed only a matter of time. But that expectation would soon turn into hell. In August 1942, the German Sixth Army began its advance on Stalingrad. With overwhelming air superiority, they bombed the city into a state of ruin. After weeks of fierce fighting, the Germans occupied most of the city. Reaching the Volga River, they succeeded in cutting off Soviet forces. German soldiers were on the verge of raising the flag of victory. Though Soviet resistance was fierce, the German offensive continued unabated. Urban warfare transformed into a brutal battle for every single building, every single room, so intense it was dubbed Rat War. Germany's superior equipment and training maintained an initial advantage even in the narrow confines of the city, slowly pushing Soviet forces back. The Soviet forces, forbidden to retreat, were forced into a desperate defensive battle with their backs to the Volga River. The order was literally not a step back. German soldiers, exhausted but believing in victory, attempted to clear out the remaining Soviet forces as snow began to fall. Up to this point, it seemed to be going according to German plans. However, from this very moment, their fate would take a drastic turn. Behind the German army's tactical successes, Hitler's strategic miscalculations were emerging. He became abnormally fixated on Stalingrad. Stalingrad was important, but the original objective was the Caucasus oil fields. Hitler prioritized its political and symbolic value. Supply lines were stretched to their limit, and with winter approaching, the German army suffered from severe shortages. Yet, Hitler ordered the attack to continue. Generals pleaded about the lack of preparation for winter warfare, but Hitler ignored them, underestimating the harshness of the Eastern Front. Meanwhile, the Soviet army was secretly preparing for urban guerrilla tactics and a cunning encirclement operation, Operation Uranus. In the German center, vulnerable Romanian and Italian forces were positioned. This created a fatal structural weakness, leaving the flanks exposed. Casualties mounted, and temperatures plummeted, yet no one dared defy Hitler's orders. But here, an unnoticed trap lay open. The German army was unwittingly falling right into it. Under a dictatorial regime, the supreme leader's command was absolute. General Paulus could not challenge Hitler's decisions. Not a step back boosted Soviet morale and ironically led to the German army's own stubborn adherence to a war of attrition. Both armies had, remarkably, the same guiding principle. The Sixth Army sensed the danger of encirclement, but permission to withdraw was denied. Hitler ordered them to hold Stalingrad to the last man. The Army High Command was led to believe that aerial resupply was feasible, but this was a detached and unrealistic assessment. Snow and ice-covered runways, severe weather, and Soviet air interdiction. Aerial resupply failed catastrophically, and the soldiers starved. The desperate struggle among soldiers for meager supplies further lowered morale, as frostbite and starvation became rampant. Information from the High Command was distorted, and the true plight of the soldiers was not accurately conveyed to Berlin. This was a classic case of organizational failure. The rational option of withdrawal had been completely dismissed, overshadowed by Hitler's pride and strategic miscalculations. In November 1942, the Soviet Army launched Operation Uranus. Striking the German Army's vulnerable flanks, they swiftly completed the encirclement. In an instant, 300,000 men of the German Sixth Army were completely isolated. Contact with the outside world ceased, and supplies and reinforcements were cut off. General winter raged, with temperatures plummeting below -30 degrees Celsius. Starvation and frostbite ravaged the soldiers, and despair spread. Hitler ordered Paulus, "Surrender is not an option." He promoted the general to field marshal, demanding he hold the city to the death. However, there were almost no soldiers left capable of fighting. On February 2, 1943, Field Marshal Paulus surrendered. The Sixth Army was annihilated. The Battle of Stalingrad completely turned the tide of World War II, sealing Germany's defeat on the Eastern Front. Stalingrad stands as a testament to the tragedy born from a dictator's flawed decision-making, distorted information, and organizational rigidity. The shifting of objectives and top-down directives that ignore reality can still lead organizations to ruin in modern business and politics. Why did Germany fail at Stalingrad? It was due to its leaders' stubborn obsession and arrogance, divorced from reality. Who overlooked what? The pragmatic advice of generals was ignored, and the empty promise of victory was prioritized. The lesson for today is clear. Do not be confined by past successes, humbly accept real-world information, and make flexible decisions. There is a difference in the quality of decision-making between those who know this failure and those who do not. History is constantly speaking to us. If you found this video informative, please subscribe and give it a like. We release a new history of collapse every day.
この失敗は歴史のほんの1ページ。世界にはまだ語られていない失敗が数多くあります。失敗の歴史をチャンネル登録して次の物語もぜひご覧ください。